Alright, now looking at your box, what we're going to do is we're going to texture it today. So if you're taking a look at this, pretty much what we're going to do is we are just going to open up our PNG that we created in Photoshop, and I'm just going to Control 0. This will actually give me the base layer. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to drop this layer under the original. And then it's pretty much just taking your base colors. So say we want to do a let's do kind of a yellow for the gold. And since I know the gold is in here, actually, before I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do kind of a mid-tone gray on this base layer. So we've got something to work with, so I can actually see the white lines on here. And then we'll just go above this on this layer. So let's do this layer right here. And we don't really have to be super perfect for this because we'll be going in and out and playing with this all over through this. So let's something like that, and then we're going to pick kind of our yellow, and then you can actually just right click and say fill, and it'll ask you what you want, foreground or background. We're just going to say foreground. So that's the first one. The base gray is this, so that let's jump over to kind of a brownish color here, and the brownish color will be good. We can always just take a brush, and my brush that I'm going to use is just a hard round, nothing special about it, and just crank up the size so we can fill in faster. And I'm using I tend to use my tablet setup a lot more, but I'll try and remember to use my deselects and stuff through the menu just so you can see where things go. Okay, so this is my first layer, and then what I'm going to do with my second layers are pretty much just let's paint in, nothing special. This is the first brown layer, so let's put that in. This is the inside of the box, if I remember right. So let's just paint this in. And again, I'm not too worried about what everything's going to look like right off the bat. It's more or less just getting in the colors that you want right off the bat. So let's I think this is the inside top chest, and I think this is the side chest, and I think for the most part that's good. And then it really depends if you want, for now I'm just going to make kind of this off color. We'll go off blue, and this is my spider web patterns that I think I'm going to do on there. So we're just going to do that. And I always try to make this stuff on different layers. If you forget, you can always use the rectangular selection tool or the lasso tool. The lasso tool is probably easier. So we're just going to grab this one. If you hit in, I think it's Shift, it'll create additional selection, and then right click on it and then say layer via cut, and so it'll pop out. So that's there, and for the most part I think we're good to go. I know this is the locks here, and then the hinge is over here. I could probably make the hinge a little bit bigger too down the road. Not that big a deal. But so then what you're going to do is the best way to do this is basically save this off as a PNG. So we're just going to go to save it, and I'm going to do a PSD. And it's not letting me do a PSD because if I go to image, mode, RGB, I'm in 16 channel, I want to be in 8. So let's save this off as now we get our Photoshop PSD. There we go. And I'm going to just save it as chest for now. So there's the chest. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go into 3D Studio Max, which I have open already. You're going to go up here, hit Material Editor, hit M, and as you can see where we've got the original material here, what we can do is simply click on Map, and then what the map does is brings us to the checker. We're going to click on that checkerboard, and again, we're going to move, we're going to choose bitmap this time, and we're going to go into our chest. I believe that's what I called it. Let's go desktop, and let's go let's see here, contacts, chest tutorial, and then we're going to just choose this chest PSD. Now when you choose any PSD, it'll ask you if you want to do the collapsed layers or individual layers. For now we're just going to do collapsed layers, and then we're going to hit OK, and then you're going to hit show shaded material and viewport, and this is going to be the basic line work for your tutorial. Okay, and now you can see where the materials are going over. I'm going to show you this. The way this works is basically we're going to go here. We're going to select all, and then our unwrap is back. And if we go to UV editor, I just have to move this back into the window. Working on multiple screens, I tend to move all over the place here. So now this is back in the window. So what you can do is you can actually do chest PSD, and if you show viewport in window, it'll show you all that. So that's pretty much how to start off with creating your material. Now that we've got that done, pretty much this is your base, and here is you always want to kind of name your layers. So what I do is I actually do a each layer should have its own group. So let's do I'm gonna just hide this so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, so your base layer is your this is all your metal that we're going to use. This one is the gold layer. So we're going to pick a group, and I'm going to just drop this in there, and you can tell it's indenting via gold. So what we're going to do is we're just going to call this gold, and then we are going to do this. Control G does it a lot faster. So this is the wood, and then this one is the webs. Alright, so now that being said, if you hold in Control, you can highlight something, and then if you hit Mask, we're masking the group layer, because everything now in this mask will pretty much be perfect the way we want it to. So this is good. But you want to make sure before you mask, you want to make sure that it's not going over on the lines. If it does, you go on the mask, you click the paintbrush tool, and then right now black will add to it or subtract to it. So we're just going to subtract our mask and make sure that everything is good. and then white. So if you hit X, X will swap back the colors. If you look over here, X, so white will add to it. So we're just going to add a little bit to that. Then basically back, go over here. We are going to pick, just make sure everything's in there. You can use your eraser tool to just kind of size this up, and I'm using the brackets. Right click to make sure the hardness is all the way up. So we're just going to do the brackets like so, just to make sure our line work. And if you've got something straight like this, you can just hold in Shift and go straight across, and it will clean that right up. So there's that, and just kind of make sure everything's real cleaned up. And I would zoom in out of this, of course, but we're getting pretty close. All right, so there's essentially our line work cleaned, or our thing cleaned up here. So I'm gonna go hold Control and go to the wood group, and then hit the mask button here, and I'm gonna go into the gold group, and I'm gonna hit Control and select that. And notice I'm selecting the image, not the layer. Control won't work on that. Then go to gold and create a mask. So now that everything is masked off, we're just gonna start working on one layer at a time here. So the first thing that I think I'm going to do is we're going to do wood. So now the cool thing about the masks are you can select a new layer, go here, just basically select a new layer in here, and no matter what, the masks will basically, I can't paint outside of this area. So an example is, let's go to brush tool, and I'm going to just pick, you can hit Alt to pick a Photoshop color that you have in there, and I'm just going to minimize this. Actually, I'm going to go in my tools, my brushes, and then I'm going to do a hard round pressure size, and then we're going to just draw in there. Let's just go a little bigger, and then I'm going to just choose a darker color. I'm using Magic Picker. It's a add-on that you have to buy. You can always pick the color here, or you can open up the window and they have a color box here that you can play with. I just like Magic Color because it's got the color wheel in there. So okay, so we've got there. So the first thing we're going to do is let's kind of just go in, and we're just making. Now notice I'm drawing outside of this. So, and then we're just going to go over like so. And all I'm doing is I'm laying down patterns. Okay. And if you don't like something, Control, Alt, and Z is a historical undo. And I'm just kind of going in there to draw some basic lines. I'm not being too perfect because this is an old school wood thing, so no big deal. So there's our basic wood in there, and then you hit File, Save, and you're going to go into Alt Tab to your chest, and all your images are in there now. Okay, and that's pretty much what we're going to be doing for the most part. Is you're just transitioning back and forth between Photoshop and 3D Studio Max. You can unwrap the texture and put it in here, but I'm not going to teach you guys that, or teach you that, because of the simple fact that if you're not with the right version, it doesn't work, and if you're not with the if you don't have the right video card hardware, it's not going to work either. So now the joy of dealing with this is you've got, let's use the magnifying glass, and we're gonna just zoom up into oops. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't the magnifying glass. Magnifying glass over here. And then hold the space bar and you can kind of move this stuff back and forward. Now, we are going to, if you hold in control in the space bar, you can kind of control that there. Okay, so now that once we've got this in there, it's pretty much just a pixel process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my brush settings, and I personally like using no brush tip shape. I like using the transfer settings, which I'll get into in a second. I like my spacing all the way over till less than 10%. A little bit, if you do it all the way to 1, you get a really smooth flow. If you do it farther, basically you see the brush stroke. So I just will go basic, and then we go in the transfer, and I like these set to pen pressure because that's what I work with. And so pretty much this is what we call pixel pushing. So the first part is we've got our dark color here, and let's you figure out the highlight is coming from this direction, so we're just going to pick kind of a more yellow style, and we're just going to go in this one section here and kind of pick our highlight like so. Now if you don't like the color, like I decided I didn't like this yellow, you can just kind of paint over it. And that's pretty much what this is about. All we're doing is we're just kind of going over this, and so like so. So we're just kind of putting, giving that 3D aspect now to the box. You can always create. I usually create a layer for the highlights, and I usually create a layer for the texture as well. So if you want a texture in there, let's just pick a kind of a mid-tone color, and we're just going to kind of, I don't like that one's too close. Let's go something like, just kind of draw in your wood texture pattern. And doesn't have to be anything fancy. We're just kind of put in knots, put in that type of thing. And so once that's done, once that you've got that in there, and you always want to kind of go in there and let's put in a little bit of darks and a little bit more saturation. And really it boils down to kind of just starting to put in your colors and so forth. You're just, all you're doing, and I'm just hitting Alt back and forth. I forgot this one here, so let's add in that, and let's put a little wood texture in there. And then you can go scroll up on your layer and save this off. and go to there, and that's where you're starting to get your kind of wood texture, wood pattern going on. All right.